here we are with my good friend Xander, who has been helping 7-figure marketers
to basically sell more stuff online.
So he doesn't need any introduction, he just gave it himself. But yeah, good stuff, man. I met Xander a while back, 1 year ago, right? 1.5?
Yeah, 1 year ago. I thought you were an irritating guy online.
An irritating guy online.
I saw you, I was like, who's this chap? I was like a bit pissed off at him.
Really? Why were you pissed off?
I was like, who is this guy? Why is he trying to be so cool online?
I'm trying to be cool online?
I had that impression.
Why do you think I was trying to be cool online?
Maybe
what made you think that I was cool online?
I think I was like very competitive, and then after I saw like other people in the agency space as well, and I was like, fuck man, this guy's also in the agency space, he must be my competitor, I must beat him. And then somehow, one way or another, I ended up talking to you.
Yeah, and now you're in my room filming this
now I'm in his room.
podcast.
It's podcast,
So I didn't know I gave off that effect. In fact, I thought I looked pretty stupid online trying to make my marketing work. But it's good. Funny thing is, when I run ads online, I always bump into more marketers than I intend. Like you, Elvin, Caleb, and a bunch of other friends that I met online. Yeah, I feel like that's where all of us hang out, on Facebook ads, TikTok ads, Instagram ads. We click each other's funnel hack each other, and then we become friends. It's like the adult version of fighting in primary school, you know? Like you fight in primary school, then you guys become friends. Something like that.
No, I realized, right, that actually a lot of my best or closest friends like online or like in internet marketing, they all start off not liking me first.
Oh, really?
Even clients have started off as haters before. Where it's like
clients have started off as haters before.
Yes. I won't go into who it is, but like
describe the hate.
Basically, it's like I was like, I was like posting a lot online, trying to build my personal brand on Facebook. So what happened was like, it was like, hey, don't stop posting online, do the work, blah blah blah. You're just fronting, you're pretending to be someone that you're not. And then eventually, what happened is like, I started to get to know him on a more personal level. We, connected, and I told him like, this was a strategy of mine, and that's how I, got to know more marketers who are like running higher tier kind of like digital products. I was just basically pissing them off into working with me, and then they would start talking about me.
Can you elaborate the part on how you piss people off to work with you? That sounds like an interesting method.
Dude, it's a very interesting method. I first learned about it from Ben Settle.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And basically, what he taught was like
Ben Settle,
email players.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
basically, what I did was I just, number one, I said that I was the best copywriter in Singapore. I think I'm pretty good. I think I'm probably top 10%, top 5%. But I was friends with a lot of internet marketers at the time, and then they all came in to tell me about how I was not the best. So that was number one. Number two, I was very strategic in terms of like attacking their old beliefs. So like what happens when there is a established crowd, like in terms of any industry in internet marketing, in direct response publishing, there's always like this certain way of doing things, right? You have to launch your offer first, you have to optimize, you have to test. And then I basically came in and just gave a bunch of unsolicited commentary on how the entire process should work and what I saw as the most efficient way possible. I mean, I wasn't pulling it out of nowhere. I was just like looking at the entire process and like how people were actually running their campaigns, managing their copywriters, creating the product itself. And I was like, maybe it could be done this way, maybe it could be done that way. And then that kind of stirred quite a bit of controversy, because these people were like, I have my ways of doing this, you shouldn't be doing this. So then that created that conversation around me, which led me to sign a few clients that were in the space.
Wow, so you heard that directly from the horse's mouth. Throw people, give them unsolicited advice.
Give them unsolicited advice.
and then close them as a client. And that's interesting because I have a friend who did that as well. A friend's partner who gave him unsolicited advice on his funnel, and now they are partners running an agency as well. I won't mention the name because I'm lazy to edit it out in case they don't want it to be here. But you know them lah. But anyways, then I was like, wow, a lot of people meet like that. online.
Yeah, a lot of unsolicited advice.
A lot of unsolicited advice. Interesting.
I think, well, this is a little bit of a controversial opinion. I think when you're doing marketing or when you're doing sales and when you're doing personal branding, it's okay to kind of exaggerate your ego a bit and to look more, I would say, like if you have maybe like a 2% or 50% level of conviction in what you have or what you want to say, you start off with that, you build more proof, you start to think about the idea more, and you really flesh it out, and then you present it to the world. And if you just moderate yourself, you're pretending to, be more humble than you actually are, when you actually have belief in or conviction in your thesis or your idea, you'll never stand out. So that's something that I guess I learned along the way, and that was that's what I've been doing for like the past year to kind of like build my brand online as well. Yeah.
Cool. How many clients are you working with right now?
Right now I would say 3 clients.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, on the regular. Yeah.
Right. Regular MRR.
I don't
so they call it the US
I don't take any
MRR.
retainer clients actually.
Okay.
So like for me, I don't believe in retainers because
MPS, monthly profit sharing.
Yeah, monthly profit sharing.
MPS.
Yeah. I don't believe in retainers. Few things. Number one is that it's like getting married on the first date, and closing a client for a retainer the first time you meet them actually I don't think works anymore. So for me, I've just transitioned the business model to where I'm actually closing clients at a higher ticket price, doing more on the front end, and then if they still like me after I've done the work, okay, sure, I'd be happy to explore a relationship with you in a longer term. Because that way, I'm not wasting my time setting up a campaign that maybe is going to work, maybe isn't going to work. I am covered for the time that I'm going to invest in building up the offer, writing the sales copy, or even for like yourself, you're doing videography for gyms as well. And that's a lot of work. So I feel like that way the risk is mitigated, and then that way you also filter out for the players with money, which is the clients that you should be serving in the first place. You shouldn't be trying to be a savior and coming into a business that doesn't have their fundamentals down and they're like, hey, I'm gonna,
But what would you say is the good advice for people who are starting out, running their own SMMA or trying to do copywriting? What would you say is a good advice? Because I don't know how they would sign clients that have a lot of money.
I think when it comes to signing clients, actually there's a few ways of doing it. The first one is you write a sample. I remember for my first couple of clients, what I ended up doing, because I had 0 samples, was that I would basically say, hey, I want to work for you. Tell me what you need for me to prove myself to you. And then what I would say is I will write you a full-length sales letter to show that I am serious about helping you and your account. So before even signing the client, I would be doing maybe 5-6 hours worth of work just to sign that client. Is that very risky? Yeah. Do you have to qualify your clients a lot before you work with them? Yeah. But if you take enough risks with enough players who are up there, I would say that, it will play out decently in the long run because you stack the odds in your favor. So that's what I think is the wisest thing to do, and that's what I did to get the first few. Yeah.
Makes sense. So 5 to 6 hours of work and then sending them the sample.
Yeah, this is for people who have already
no experience.
First meeting, you're like, you get to know them. Second meeting, you're like, hey, I want to work for you, but I don't have any samples. And then third meeting, you send this. Okay. So you still need to do your outreach. You still need to do that whole qualifying process, and still need to get your numbers in terms of like reaching out to enough people. Then that's the way that you just kind of tip it over the edge. Then once you get your first one, you just move.
Speaking of qualifications, what are your thoughts on what makes a qualified client? In terms of, this
I understand what you mean.
In terms of being a good client to market online versus a bad client to market online.
I don't believe that there are maybe good clients or bad clients, but I think there's maybe like difference in working styles. So like, for example, if your methods of marketing are quite traditional, right? And you are more safe or like brand safe with your marketing, like let's say, I don't know, like your service is like, hey, I'm just going to do a simple website design for you. Then you can work with like SMEs or like more safer businesses. But if let's say you're going to run more sophisticated kind of like funnels, you're going to be more aggressive in your selling online, and you're comfortable with like pushing the line in terms of like your claims and the way that you sell and market your products. You don't want to be selling that kind of marketing to SMEs who have never seen that in their entire life before. So like as much as people will try to tell you like, oh, you know, you gotta introduce a new big idea to the clients to sell them. Actually, no, it's more of just working within their world and adding like that 10% to close the client instead. It's like you go to the SME. So instead of website design, it's like, oh, you know, you have a website, maybe you have emails, I will follow up with them. Rather than like, hey, you know, I'm gonna run paid ads for your website, and they've probably never heard of it before. So I think that kind of that jump or that gap and that logical leap is like a bit too much for people. So you don't want to push that for your clients until or your prospects until they're ready for that. Yeah, that's what I feel.
Okay, so it's like a give and take because not all clients are ready, so you need to work with what they have plus what you have. Is that what you're saying?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
And even if you try to like make that big jump, if they don't have the infrastructure to support you, or like they don't know like what they need to do on their end to sell your service. So let's say maybe you are doing I don't know, what's your most complicated service?
Most complicated service?
Your like highest tier.
Well, actually we are pretty simple right now because the gym niche. Okay, we're doing a funnel, like a webinar funnel for a financial advisor doing recruitment, but it's not really a recruitment funnel. It's a sharing free tips on how to MDRT and TOT on your own with no hard sell at the end. Basically, it's just creating like a name for yourself of guiding young financial advisors, and then at the end, if they choose, they can come and speak to you and come to your team instead as an advisor. So that's the most complicated one, I would say, in terms of complexity.
So I think like let's say that's the level of complexity, right? Imagine now you're going to go to maybe 50-year-old. I'm not trying to. I'm just going to stereotype for example's sake. Yeah. So let's say this guy has been in the industry for 30 years. He's been doing door knocking forever. It's working for him. And you try to pitch him this, he's just going to be like, hey, you know, I don't care, right? But if let's say the financial advisor, as counterintuitive as this sounds, you know, has burned through maybe 3 marketing agencies, one of them worked, and now he knows that marketing works, but it's just who's the right marketer. Then Simon comes in to pitch him that, then the sale is going to be much, much easier. So I think a lot of sales and marketing, it comes down to like getting people at the right timing in their lives. Yeah.
So it's like the triangle Sabri Subi says, 3% at the top that's always ready to buy, that's your ideal clients, but everybody's competing for them. Then there's 20% that's in information gathering mode. Then there's like 30% that's in freaking, I don't know, what is it, not ready to buy. And then there's the other huge chunk at the bottom that's not even a buyer, and they need a lot of education and information before they even go up the triangle.
Is that the case? I think so. I think so, yeah. So I'd say just target the top few until you've completely maxed out that market. Because most people, I think they try to go mass market way too fast. And that causes them a lot of pain.
Okay, cool. Like, okay, that's interesting. So like, do you have any specific examples of how your own personal client, like an ideal client of yours, how the workflow is like in terms of like writing a copy, giving it to the client, then the client approving, and then everything going smooth sailing? Do you have a very specific ideal client avatar you can share with us?
So usually my ideal client avatar is someone who has launched, written and successfully built their own funnels before. So this is someone that has the experience in terms of like creating an offer, in terms of knowing who their target market is, in terms of writing the copy, and maybe even a little bit of media buying. Now, like a lot of people might think like, hey, you know, if the client knows everything already, then what value do you add? Actually, it's quite the opposite, because what happens when the client knows everything, you don't have to sell yourself that hard if you are of substance, because they will just ask you a few questions, you know, they know what they want, and the deal goes through. And then what happens is that when they're onboarding with you, or when they're having a conversation with you, you basically can talk marketing straight to them, and they're not going to be like, what's this, sorry, what's this. You don't have to educate them at all. And I guess the reason why I choose it is because like that allows me to focus on my craft of improving like my marketing, improving my copywriting, improving my media buying, improving my funnel, my offer development, and having the freedom to do so, and also having some sort of a bouncing board, because these people like know what they want, and I can have like education educated discussions with them in terms of like how to improve, and then that in the long run improves my chances of success in terms of launching a campaign or an offer or anything. So that way, like, I reduce like client failure because I really, really hate that, and then everything just runs very smoothly because everyone knows what they need to do. Yeah.
You mentioned client failure. What is a good percentage to have for a copywriter?
I think if you're a copywriter, it depends on how hard you want to work. Why I say this is because actually you can fail about 50% of your promotions as long as you can write the next promotion fast enough. So maybe this is a Facebook ad angle, this is a sales letter. It's fine to fail your first one as long as you have the emotional agility, number one, to accept failure that you fucked up. Number two is to completely tear your old promotion apart. Say why you were stupid and why the assumptions that you made were completely off, and then work towards your next idea that builds off the failures that your previous promotion had. Yeah.
Okay, so to sum it up, basically just having emotional maturity to know that this is a business.
You will fail.
You will fail, but you will also succeed, and that's where you should put your focus on.
Correct. And to learn from your promotions, because every piece that you write, you have a few assumptions, correct, about the market. So once you have those assumptions, you know that they're completely wrong. They can go the other side, and then you can work from there. Yeah.
Okay. What are you looking for in the future for yourself as a copywriter? What kind of clients are you looking for right now?
I think for me, I'm looking for more like info product individuals. So people who are like selling courses, people who are like marketing high ticket coaching services, agency services, even people who basically can close over the phone and just need a system to consistently bring them leads, and they want to really tune and squeeze every last drop out of that funnel. Those are people that I want to work with, because I think that their attitude towards marketing and mine is very similar. We both want that perfected state. You know what I mean?
Okay, cool. Then what about for agency owners watching this? Like, what about local businesses? What would you recommend for local businesses running ads with us? Let's say we are hired to run ads for them. What would you recommend to like disqualify and qualify for?
Maybe you can give me an example.
Like a gym client, for example. What would you consider an ideal gym client versus a not so ideal gym client?
I think an ideal gym client would be someone who has suffered the pain of not having marketing before and has suffered the pain of making mistakes in their own marketing campaign. Those will be the people who are easiest to work with, because there's less ego involved in the process, and you can have more mature conversations with these types of clients because they have the experience, and then that way you don't have to wrestle with them back and forth to try to establish the frame. Is this the most profitable thing? Can you close the most people when you do this? No, but your business runs much more smoothly when you only allow clients of a certain caliber, years of experience, enough library of mistakes, where you can come in and then you can tell them, hey, you know, I've also been in the trenches before, let's do this together. And that's always the frame I try to have when I'm talking to my clients. It's like, I want to be able to respect you as an individual who's competent as a marketer, and I want to be able to have like discussions about how I can make this work together with you. And that's the most important thing for me. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I think a lot of agency owners, they have problems with local business owners that want to control the ads, make it look their way. They don't really know how marketing works. They want the fonts to be super professional. They want the color grading and all of that. But then they don't realize that candid ads actually really work.
Yeah.
In fact, it outperforms most professional work. And then they also see their competitors doing the same thing, and they assume that this is how it works. But then they run an ad from an iPhone edited quite fast with like Alex Hormozzi's bold font, and that outperforms all of them. Yeah. So it's interesting how they don't understand how that works also.
I think so. I don't know, like for you, what's your ideal client? How do you disqualify people?
Yeah, an ideal client for me would be just someone that lets us run an offer for them and is willing to work with the offer that we have crafted for them. So like one of our gym clients, in my previous video I showed how we gave away people who signed up for the lead form 7-day free pass, swimming pool access, steam room access, and 1 free personal training session. But actually these are all things that people get anyways. But we just stacked it up on the ad, and then we put like a $9.90 price tag. So that works really well, but not a lot of gym owners are willing to do that. In fact, some of our gym owners are like, we are not going to give 7-day pass away, but we are like, dude, you're not losing any money by giving away 7-day pass. But they think it's cheapening the product, or some of them are just not willing to give such a crazy offer. They think there's a better way of doing it, which is just like putting a cookie cutter traditional advertisement out there, and then they think it's brand image. A lot of esoteric thoughts that doesn't make sense.
So how do you manage conversations like that? Because
so it's like a give and take. It's a give and take. We always tell them the expectations that if this fails, this is on you. If our method fails, that's on us. So if you want to go your way and it fails, it's on you. You got no way. But if our method fails, we can always restart and do something else. But we have experience, so most likely our method is always going to work. So we let the client do it their way first. When it fails, then we do it our way, and our way usually works out.
Understand. Yeah. I think for you told me like last time that you really enjoy closing, and I think this kind of ties in with that whole negotiation thing.
Yeah, I love closing.
Tell me more about it.
I really love having conversations and seeing the psychology of people rationalizing to themselves a lot of random things that makes no sense, and then eventually coming to the same conclusion. Like usually at the start, I'll tell them, if you want to acquire X number of clients, maybe 10 clients a month, this is the budget, this is how much you have to pay us, and then they will backward rationalize, why must we pay you that much, or why must we do this and this and that. And then once I ask them a bit more, they just go back to the same conclusion. So, okay, that makes sense. And then, I love closing, but I love delivering even more. After closing. So if that happens together, that's the best feeling in the world.
So how do you like control the frame for like in terms of like sales conversations? Because I know like sometimes I think if you're maybe in marketing as well, people tend to like derail your conversation, and they try to like steer something. It goes into like, you're talking about personal life, and then it's like not about work, and then it goes all over the place. So like, how do you?
I actually start with personal stuff at the start first. That's not related to work, and then I say let's come back to this later, and then I will go into the whole sales call and talk about their goals, how to hit their goals. But I like to be personal at the end. But for me, I always seek out genuine intention. If they have genuine intention on hitting a certain amount of revenue for their business, you can usually sniff it out within the first few minutes of the conversation. So one key component of seeing genuine intention is the quality of questions that they will ask. They won't ask about money back guarantee. They will definitely not care about that. They also won't ask about what if it doesn't work out. They will ask questions like, how do we call these leads? How do we get them to sign up? And how many can we get? So they will ask questions about succeeding rather than what if it fails. So that's when you can really sense genuine intention. And then when you this is like you can use this if you want to in a sales call. That I would love for us to hit 7 figures together, and their eyes light up. They'll be like, okay, this is a good client. But if you give them something like, we can hit this and this and this, and they're like, I've tried it before, blah 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 blah. They're looking for the failure route, and they're looking for the out. So they might not be the best client to sign. So usually whenever clients ask me about guarantees, or they say what if we can't work with their offer, then I know they're not a good client to work with. So like if they say what if it doesn't work out, and they keep mentioning that again and again and again, this person is priming himself for failure already.
I understand.
But you're asking me how I felt like closing, and
do you do do you do sales in a very chill way, or do you try to get them excited and then buy in?
I do it chill at the start, and then at the end I will hopefully get them excited with the numbers that we've discussed and the offer that we can give. I do the Sabri Subi method. Sabri Subi talks about how you can build relationships and all of that with your clients, and there's always the top 3% that wants to buy, but the 97% is where the true money is. So I like to go that route and talk about how social media ads can have access to the 97%, and if you do it well, you keep retargeting them, they will eventually come to your business. So I like to do that route, and it works really well, especially for brick and mortar businesses. That's something they can understand. But if you give them like if you talk about Godfather offer, irresistible offer, they might get lost a bit. But if you talk about how you can reach mass market, how you can sign everyone for a brick and mortar business, they'll be very excited.
Understand. Okay. How do you deal with guarantees? Do you actually offer them? Do you believe in them?
I always give the guarantee, but they have to pay a bit more. But to be honest, even back then when we gave the guarantee, you can already tell they are not going to ask the guarantee back if they're qualified clients. Because if they ask for the guarantee, and let's say the campaign fails, we give them, for example, scenario 1 where we give them a lot of leads, they can't convert, and then they ask for the money back. What is the money back going to do for them? Nothing.
They're still ads is sung already.
Yeah, they spend money on the ads, they haven't solved a problem on how to convert the leads, and they ask for the money back. It means they are going back to ground zero again. But instead they could, what I would suggest at that point is, let's try the ads again, let's try to convert the leads better, let's try to redo our offer. And if they have that kind of attitude, then they will not ask for the guarantee back, because within that relationship, maybe 1 month to 3 months, they would have already seen your work, and they would have already known that if you are delivering, that you are trying your best to deliver, and it's going to succeed eventually. Versus the client that doesn't try very well, and then after they ask for the guarantee, and then you refund the money, and then he or she goes back to their business and goes back to their older way. I think that's a really bad way to end relationships. And then it's bad for their business also, because they're on ground zero and they have no other solutions.
I think it's like a kind of like commitment thing to see things to the end.
Correct. Yeah. So they're committed. So usually when a client asks for guarantees, I'm actually not even keen to sign them. Like, you want the guarantee or do you want the result? The answer is the results. It should always be that. So the guarantee is just to push them over the edge. That's not the main part of the service anyways. That's just to make you feel safe. But if you really, really want the guarantee and you have tried and you're giving me genuine intention, then maybe I'll consider giving the refund. But so far nobody has asked us for it. I would want the client to speak to me directly and ask me for the refund, and I'll be cool giving it back if the client gives me an answer. Like, okay, look, it didn't work out, I found another agency, they're going to give me better results, and can I have the money back, for example. But nobody's going to give you that response. They're usually trying to figure things out on their own anyways, and a bit lost.
Understand. What are your plans for 2023?
Good question. So 2023, I'm planning to scale out of the gym niche, because in the local market in Singapore, I feel the gym niche has been saturated already quite a fair bit, and we can't sign too many. And obviously we are going to try signing clients abroad. I feel like in Singapore it's easy to sign clients, but not overseas. Overseas, a lot of my agency friends, they tell me they struggle, especially when they've been doing business with local businesses. Then they try to sign clients overseas. Not a lot of them have succeeded. I don't really have anyone that I know. Do you know for local businesses? I don't know. Culture difference?
Culture not fit.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. Like, do they usually run ads, or like how do they usually
I don't know. I mean, some of them mention that they run ads, but it doesn't convert. Yeah. Some of them mention that it's just the time zone difference. You can't really work at the timing that they're awake if it's in the US, for example. But yeah, I mean, so far I don't know many agency owners in Singapore that works with local businesses that also has a ton of overseas local business clients. I don't know of many.
I only know one guy who's doing that, but he's doing more for like B2B SaaS and other agencies doing their outbound.
Okay, B2B is different, but B2B SaaS is completely different already then. Okay, but local business is interesting. I think because local business owners are not very educated as well, so they need somebody that really, really speaks their language and lives there as well. That's why that could be one factor. But of course, if you promise them a certain amount of results and the price makes sense, then because I know some of my clients in Singapore, some of the people that I went on sales call, they are signed on with overseas agencies that are running ads for them. So I guess it's just a language, cultural difference, and local business owners overseas are not as internet marketing savvy. Same thing for Singapore as well, right? And they just prefer somebody that lives there usually. But of course, this could be a mindset block. Signing them could be easier if you had an offer and a price that made sense. But in Singapore we can charge so much higher. We can literally charge 10 times higher.
Oh really? Why?
I don't know why.
Maybe they just like locals more.
I don't know. They just you can charge a lot more in Singapore, and you can go to their store literally. You can walk in. So it's much more intimate. Which I guess helps.
Makes sense. I think, you're talking about the sell to the 97%, the top 3%, and then the 97% that takes the time, that takes up a lot of your sales processes. So I'm not sure if this is going to work out, but this is like kind of my strategy for 2023, since you told me also that you're looking to scale out of the gym niche. For me, like, I'm looking to scale or like partner with more top 3% individuals to sell together with them to the 97%. Then that way it's going to be a lot of work for me in terms of like operational delivery, like getting a lot of copy out there for them, testing lots of angles. But I feel like, you know, with a smaller pool of clients, with clients that are more educated, more sophisticated, I think the growth per client is going to be much higher than if I went the mass market route, because I don't really want to deal with the operational complexity of trying to serve so many clients. I'm like, okay, you know what, I just go with a few good guys and we'll go far together and then we'll sell to the 97%. I think that makes sense for me. So that is the strategy that I'm trying to pursue.
Cool. Okay, another question I have for you before we possibly end it off is what do you think is the difference between internet marketers in the US and the UK or Europe compared to the marketers in Singapore?
How do I put it?
Besides Singlish being a
few things. Number one is that marketers that are based in the West or the other parts of the world generally more comfortable with hard selling. I think they have a general culture where it's like, are you going to buy now? You know, if you don't buy now, you're basically going to be a failure in life. No, like I'm serious.
That's true.
This is like a typical sales call. Let's say you're going to sell to an agency or you're doing a coaching or consulting. Like that's the typical sales call process where it's just like.
But is it true or not? I feel like it's true.
It is true.
When they say that sentence.
Yeah.
It's not false, you know.
I've heard it many times. It's I bought it the first time. That's how I got into the agency game. But like nowadays, I kind of don't really like that anymore. So I stopped for that side. So that's one. Singapore marketers are more like, so you in, you out. Whatever, let me know. Then they'll just fuck off. So I think that's number one, the biggest difference. Number two, I think US agencies or like Western side of the world, they're more open to aggressive marketing tactics. So bigger claims, more complicated funnels, and I think they're more comfortable with that kind of thing. Singapore, if you try to push that, then there's a little bit higher level of resistance unless you're working with other marketing agency owners or other coaches and consultants who are already in the space. And what else do you think that's different between the both of them?
I think lifestyle-wise.
Oh yeah, lifestyle.
Forgot to mention that.
I forgot to mention lifestyle.
The fucking elephant in the room.
Yeah, business and lifestyle.
There's so many young SMMA owners in many parts of the world, except for Singapore, that party like degenerates as well.
Yeah, I feel like Singapore is lacking fun, I would say. A lot of the time I've realized like for me, I'm not a digital nomad kind of guy, but I still like to have my fun. I realized like when it comes to work in Singapore, there's a lot of people who kind of like, I would say, don't know how to let loose once in a while. I wouldn't say it's a bad thing or a good thing. I mean, like, props to you, like, just work more if that's what you want. But in terms of Singaporeans, we are much less flashy than our Western counterparts. Like, it's not normal for someone like us to kind of put ourselves out there and to like, hey, you know, I'm rich, I'm successful. You know, the easier thing for a Singaporean internet marketer to do is like, oh, you know, I'm okay. Then, you know, maybe they stay landed or whatever. Like that's the standard in Singapore if you're like really good at what you do. But if you're like American or like you're Western, it's like, hey, you know, Patek Philippe, driving my fucking Lambo, you know. And like even Singaporeans who try or like live more authentically in terms of like the Western flashiness, they just get hated upon. I don't get it. Remember Sam Hidi?
Yeah. Sam Hidi.
Sam Hidi is like the classic Westerner doing it in Singapore.
Yeah.
And it just gets flamed because it's Singaporean culture that they don't like people who show off.
Yeah.
So I mean, it sucks a bit to be a flashy guy in Singapore. But in the US, I feel like it's appreciated and even looked up to, where you are showing off your accomplishments, your achievements, a little bit more individualistic, you know, like where it's like, hey, you know, I did this, but the truth is you actually did it, so, you know, kind of deserve it.
Yeah, they are much more capitalists in their overall lifestyle. Well, Singapore is conservative.
Yeah, more conservative, more family oriented maybe.
Family oriented. I would even say like less masculine compared to the...
we're going there now. Okay.
To the Western counterparts.
Yeah.
But it's okay, I mean, there's no right or wrong, I feel. Yeah, you can be anything you want.
Are we an effeminated culture? Is that what you're trying to say?
I mean, we grew up pretty conservative. We live in HDBs, most Singaporeans, with their family members till like the age of 25 to 30. I think it's increasing even more now. And then when you get married, you don't get a house right away. You have to wait for a BTO. Yeah, so
by
it's
the time you move out, it's
long
like 30.
process. I mean, in the western side of the world, is 16 to 18 you're out already, and
They kick you out.
Yeah, they kick you out, and before that you're already doing a lot of crazy stuff with your life in those like frats and in their school, high school, colleges. So it's a different culture. I mean, Singapore, the worst we get is freaking upskirt videos in NUS, NTU, and that's it. We don't. I mean, that's it. It's a pretty perverted activity, but that's it. It's not like drugs or cocaine or what. It's just super chill environment. So it kind of goes downwards towards everybody because the system is like that. Yeah. So interesting. But yeah, I feel like a lot of clients in the US and Europe, UK, they sign volume, you know. They don't work with one or two. A lot of them, like the SMMA owners, they sign a lot of clients because the market is huge anyway, right? Yeah. They fucking sign a shit ton, and they are not afraid to make their VAs work a lot non-stop and pay them very little and just keep all of the profits to themselves, man.
I think it's cool. Hey, maybe one day I'll open up a agency sweatshop too.
Maybe.
I think like for me it's just do I really want to be talking to so many SMEs? It's just not something that like I wake up I want to do that, you know. I think for myself I would say like I'm much more introverted as a person. I'm much more I'm not so high energy. I'm like very intense when it comes to my work, but when it comes to like having to hype up and have the same conversation over and over and over and over again with like the exact same type of target market, it kind of bores me and it drains me. So like I prefer more complicated tasks, and I want to get paid for that. So that's why I try to just work with the people who have done the work before and know what they want.
That's interesting because I mean every Monday I talk to my clients from morning till evening. So I only have like 6 or 7 clients, and it takes up like half the day already. Fuck, man, I can't imagine doing it to like 20 clients or 100 clients. But I mean, of course, at that point you need to get a manager to do that, man. And every meeting needs to be like 15 to 30 minutes max, because you need to go through so many clients, man. And I think that's where the hard selling comes in, because they do volume. They don't have the fucking time. Because I remember opting in for one of these guys funnel online. I see the calendar is booked all the way till probably the end of the year, man. So I found one slot, I clicked, and when I went on the call, the caller was like gasping for air. He was like, let me get some water first. Then I was like, how old are you, bro? He said, I'm 19 years old. I said, how many calls have you done? I said, I've done about 300 this year. It's February, by the way. Like, what the fuck? Do you even have time? He said, no. Anyways, let's get to the call, bro. I understand you have a lot of questions for me, but let's get to the call. I could see you're just trying to get the numbers and volume down, man. Like, wow, these guys they have their processes and systems dialed up, man. I think that's where the hard selling comes in. They can't do this.
They can't afford to.
They can't do this. Custom stuff. So it's interesting. I guess they adjust to their market. We would probably be like that if we were born there and raised there.
I think so too.
Unfortunately, right? Rednecks with guns and shit. I don't know.
I have no idea.
Interesting,
Maybe it will be the first 2 public marketers other than, I think only Sam Healy, maybe he broke into US with TikTok agency.
Did Gabriel Wong do it? I don't think so. It's still local market.
Yeah, Gabriel Wong's still local market. For SMEs,
Maybe,
Maybe.
Let's try that. But interesting conversation. Any tips you would have for other people that want to be copywriters or they want to get into internet marketing, and what are the pros, cons, and what they should look out for from your experience? You've been doing it for how many years?
Officially, I would say 1 year.
Officially 1 year only?
I mean, unofficially, I've been doing it since I was 17.
Now you are 21.
22. So maybe like 4 years-ish.
4 years. About the same as me.
4 years. I've been doing it for about 4 years. I'd say, what's the most important thing? What's the tips, is it?
What's some advice you want to give to young budding entrepreneurs that want to get into internet marketing, say copywriting agency, or just general come and do work online and make a living?
Okay, I know what to say. Basically, you need to do 2 things in your agency to succeed. It's actually very simple. Number 1, master sales and be ready to eat shit for the cold calls, outbound, and basically your cold DMs kind of game. It doesn't stop. You just get better at it. it and you get people to do it for you. That is the cold DM game, or like the outreach, paid traffic, whatever. Then the second thing is that you need to have a very highly profitable skill. And I guess for me, you cannot outsource everything. Yes, you can eventually outsource certain parts of your business, but and you can be an agency owner and you can have all the best people in the world, but you still do need to have that fundamental in like, what is that one thing that you're really good at the agency. Then that way you can sell and you can show that, hey, I can deliver you results. We have something special here. So whether it is media buying, graphic design, copywriting, offer creation, what else is there in internet marketing?
I mean, it's okay. I think that's about the general.
Yeah, like as long as you need to pick one and then get really good at it and then do your sales. And then you just keep selling the two together. Because if you do too much of like learning the skill and you never sell, no one's gonna know that you're good. If you sell without the skill, closing is gonna be an issue, client retention is gonna be an issue.
So you need sales and marketing skills hand in hand.
And it's two very different skill sets.
It's very different.
It's two very, very different skill sets. People don't tell you that.
Yeah, but actually some people would say it's still on a broad umbrella of understanding psychology. Yeah. So even though they're very different, I feel they complement each other.
They do, but sales is way more effort driven and marketing is more strategic thinking driven.
That's true. What kind of personality type would do well in the internet marketing world, in your opinion?
I feel like if you want to scale to the very, very high levels, I feel like the internet marketing lifestyle kind of attracts a lot of people who just like to sit at home in front of their computer. I am one of them.
Lazy people.
It's not
would
lazy.
You say?
It's just like you don't feel like talking to people so much. A little bit more introverted. I know. You kind of like hate society a little bit. You don't feel like you feel like you feel like you have to do it your own way. Yeah, perfect. Internet marketing is great for you because you need to do it your own way. Otherwise, you will not survive. So if you are a bit more anti-establishment, consider yourself rebellious, have strong opinions about the world and how things should be, and you generally tend to think in a way that's different from other people, it'll be great to go into internet marketing because that's what people are looking for and that's what sells the most. So yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah, like I'm sort of anti-establishment as well. Yeah. I mean, I'm not really completely against it, but I do not like a lot of the things that the government make us do. Or
it's not. It's just like a rebellious streak.
Yeah.
If you have a rebellious streak, internet marketing is great for you. Yeah,
but if you like law and order and like even the ideology of an iron rice bowl, maybe the internet.
Yeah, I don't think it's for you. I don't think you will get it will be too stressful for you. I would say, because you eat what you kill, and if you cannot hunt, you cannot eat, and basically just you'll be blown out in the industry lah. And while I think most people underplay the amount of effort that goes into building a marketing agency, I think people like to portray this idea that marketing agency owners are very chill, suave, cool, and like very low energy individuals that just somehow are able to print money. You get it, right? You get it a lot, right? You get it a lot. Like a lot of people portray that idea, but behind all of that is a lot of pain where you are getting rejected for your outreach, you're getting rejected for your failures of your campaigns, you're getting rejected in terms of like you're hiring the wrong people, and the only way that you can survive through all of that is when you just switch off. And I think that's the reason why so many people just turn out to just like be emotionally like very stable, because you've gone through like the highs and lows. Dead or stable depends on how you see it.
I agree. Yeah. Definitely, internet marketing has fucked with me in so many ways that I don't think I can be swayed by any other life events anymore.
Right. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what I feel. Yeah.
Interesting. Cool, man.
Yeah.
Great talk. To end it off, what's your goals for this year that you're willing to hit or you want to hit in terms of revenue? If you could have a number that you would want to hit this year, at the end of this year, or maybe next year we come back to February to this spot again.
I think this year I would be happy at 100k, but I know like I'll
take home, right?
Yeah, take home. And then I'll be really, really happy. 400k, yeah. That'll be solid. Like, I honestly, at that point, you're making investment banker income, you're 22, you don't have anyone to provide for, you take care of yourself. You can afford all the luxuries in your life that you ever want to. And you basically don't need to worry. And if you know how to manage that 400k that comes in and you don't blow it all, you know, let's say you save 350 because staying in Singapore is not that expensive. You're not going to spend like 50k, like even 24k spending it per year is quite tough already. And if you're able to manage that, I think, yeah, you just roll the 350 into the next thing and then you just grow your wealth from there. So I feel like the first 100k is always the hardest, they say. And after that, it's easy mode. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll validate that. I'll come back and I'll say whether it's easy mode after you hit your first 100k. But
let's check it out, man.
Let's check it out. Yeah, let's go.
Till next time, guys.
Till next time. See you.
Peace.